Committee will come to order. We will now proceed under the 5-minute rule with questions. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. McClintock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff Boudreau, one of the obvious and most frightening aspects of this open border is the migration of the most violent gangs in the world into our communities, such as MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. You said that the cartels are already trying to sink roots into your community. Could you go a little bit more into the details of what you're dealing with now in Tulare County?
Yes, sir. What's interesting is that the cartels have actually infiltrated within California, even within agricultural businesses and businesses up and down the state of California. They are very smart, very good at what they do. They're businessmen. They're also very dangerous and violent, and they lead by intimidation and fear. In our county alone, the cartel that we dismantled was a Sinaloa cartel. The DEA is, of the 50 people we arrested, the DEA is still hunting down the primary suspect who actually lives in Sinaloa, Mexico. During the course of this investigation, we did learn that homicides had taken place up and down the state, as well as in the central San Joaquin Valley.
And did you say that one suspect was responsible for 25 murders?
Yes, sir. So in another case...
This is what you're seeing in California today in real time.
Real time. We have a man who was an assassin working for the cartel. And this man admitted to over 25 different assassinations that took place at the direction of the cartel. He was discovered after he had committed a homicide and accidentally had left a receipt from a gas station, and we caught him on video and was able to speak with him, and during the course of the investigation admitted to those. But what he also admitted is that he was responsible for a certain area of California, and there were many other assassins assigned by cartels in California, throughout California, that were responsible for those areas.
So this is going on all over the state, presumably, all over every state. Are you hearing from other sheriffs about these issues?
I am.
And what are they saying?
They're saying much of the same thing. You know, Sheriff Lamb is a good friend of mine out of Arizona who he and I speak pretty regularly. Much of what I speak of in regards to California and the violence as well as the human trafficking, it's mirrored in other states all throughout the United States.
Now, illegal migrants often arrive into this country deeply indebted to the Mexican cartels that do actually control the border. How do the cartels enforce these debts on the other migrants?
Enforce on the other who?
On the other migrants.
What's happening in our communities, we're seeing people who have come into the United States on work visas and or victim visas where they're living in these small migrant farming towns. The cartel wants to control these migrant towns and truly lead the same way that they are in other countries, specifically in Mexico.
So the violence we're seeing in Mexico is already here and is in the process of getting deeply rooted into our communities.
It's already rooted.
Wow. What impact would you say sanctuary policies are having on this phenomenon, as well as the Democrats' no-cash bail bonds?
Well, I can speak to California. As you are aware, Senate Bill 54 made California a sanctuary state. Here's some of the problems that we're facing. Every sheriff in the state of California in times past used to be able to ask immigration status of those who are arrested and coming through our jails. That no longer is in existence. Sheriffs and law enforcement are no longer allowed under Senate Bill 54, supported by Kamala Harris at the time, spearheading much of the Senate Bill 54 with Sacramento Democrats.
So when the Democrats tell us, well, there's no real evidence that illegal migrants cause more crimes, you're not even allowed to ask if they're illegal migrants.
Well, and that's part of the formula. If I'm not able to ask, then there's no data to support. And so we are legally bound in California from asking someone their immigration status under Senate Bill 54.
Now, the New York Post recently reported that NYPD officers were estimating that about 75% of the violent crimes they're arresting in Manhattan are committed by illegal migrants. Can you give us a rough estimate, just from your experience, what you think is going on in
I'd have to
California?
give you experience and opinion because the data doesn't allow me to collect it through the formula.
Right, but what's your estimate?
But what I can tell you is that the crimes that we're seeing based on our investigations that we're well over 50%.
Wow. I see my time's expired. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, gentleman. Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized for 5 minutes.